evaluating speaker number 3, Toastmaster Chris Miles, is our veteran Toastmaster, Brandon.
Here, here, here.
Thank you, Kathleen, and thank you, Chris Miles. Chris gave me this beautifully written speech at the beginning of the meeting, and it is well laid out with a tremendous amount of detail. He started his speech out with a casual confidence as we approached the lectern, with a nice smile, a little bit of a joke. He wove Linda's geographic reference into his speech to kind of let us know where he had been, and took us to the peak of these mountains in Athos to start his speech, set the tone. You had a steady cadence at times. I feel like it was almost a little too steady. The monaxia, the word that you started off with, was Greek to, I think, all of us. Loneliness. I mean, I never knew that the word monk literally meant like to be lonely. And you also tied in the word despondent as you describe conditions. You told us about the peak and how it was freezing cold. Would have loved a little bit more gesture there, kind of bring us into what you were experiencing. The Virgin Mary was not there. A little drop of humor there. There's no women allowed. The Virgin Mary wasn't there. And the story about the monk that had never met a woman, I think really hit home with how serious that is when you say it, but versus when you met someone that told you. I think there's a little bit more room for humor there with the conditions of the environment without the women there, right? The men were just kind of all like, all right, this is fine, we don't need to fix anything. And some of the more of the architecture, right? Because you're such a brilliant architect. I would have loved to hear more about that. You touched on some stuff and then you dipped in and you dipped out. And it left me wanting more in each area, but you did a good job covering a vast amount of a trip with this small 7 minutes of speech. I would have liked to hear a little bit more about how Russia was attempting to help, and then as well, just a touch more humor for us, Chris, because I think you're great at that.